Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Not convinced about this from Ben Shalom. Why not inform people what's going on when you have something there a little more concrete? The last time we heard about Eubank and Canelo, Eubank and Ben Shalom said they want to get Chris more active. Chris said he doesn't want to take the fight to participate, he wants to win. Well, the activity since the Liam Smith fight last year consists of a routine stoppage win over Camille Zerameta. I don't know what that does to prepare him for Canelo. But they also said that they looked at the Billy Joe Saunders numbers, even though Billy was a champion and Chris isn't. And they priced themselves out, basically. So which one was it? Inactivity or the money wasn't right? Ben Shalom said, we've started small conversations around the Canelo fight. If he's going to fight in the UK, that's a fight that would sell out Wembley Stadium. I'm not sure. Canelo's big where he's big. He's big in Mexico and definitely America. He certainly doesn't have the same visibility as Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. In England, that is. Now, Eubank, on the strength of his name, they'll do a good number in a stadium. It's a stadium fight lightly. But what, 98, 96 at Wembley? No, I don't see that. Maybe if Chris had a few more accomplishments, a bit more in his recent form. Like, he said he wanted to be active before he fought Canelo. So I thought he'd have 3 fights or so, not one against Zerameta, then go straight into a Canelo fight. You know, I thought Chris was going to beat Zerameta and that this Conor Ben fight was nailed in. And now they're talking about Canelo. So they're all about the place. And I don't trust Ben Shalom like that. I don't really trust Chris no more. I'm tempted to say it's clout chasing to boost Chris's name, knowing full well he's not going to fight Canelo next. But I don't know. They could be negotiating with Canelo. They could be. The whole notion is going to be a huge fight over here. It'll be a curiosity. The press will be on it. Yes, indeed. But look, can't fool the public like that. Who views this as a 50-50 or even a 60-40 in Canelo's favour? Chris is going to be a rank outsider. Looking through the rankings, I don't see Chris's name in none of the sanctioning bodies' rankings. The top 15 of none of them. At 168. He's ranked at 160, but 168 he's not even ranked. Why would he be? He's been fighting at 160 for the last few years. And as for Canelo, well, he's just going to do whatever he likes. Criticising Canelo at this point does what?
Absolutely nothing.
He sits comfortably behind the pro-friendly Canelo media where he can do no wrong, none at all. And his forever loyal fan base. No point. Let him do what he wants. Who cares, really? I'm yet to hear Canelo say anything about this fight. Just Eubank and Ben Shalom. And until Canelo talks, I can't really take it that serious.
Don't believe the hype.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Boxers don't know, like, when their market value has been hit and they're not as hot as they were previously, like Devin. He called out Jack Catterall after Catterall defeated Regis Prograis Saturday gone. Then he said something I found strange. Only one person could make that fight with Jack Catterall, and that's Turki Al Sheikh. Well, for one, they're both good boxers, but it's not a good style matchup. Now, you can never predict how fights are going to turn out. The styles may gel. Saturday gone, the two southpaws for long periods of the fight, Regis and Jack, were literally oil and water that he picked up from the mid to late to the finish. There's no belt at stake. Devin relinquished his WEC strap rather than fight Sando Martin. This is not a fight that Turki Al Sheikh is going to touch. When's the last time Jack Catterall got a stoppage? About 7 fights ago. Devin, when's the last time he got a stoppage? That's a few years back. It's not a Saudi fight like that. And certainly not headlining on pay-per-view. And by Devin saying only Turki can make the fight happen, he's looking for huge money. Only one person can make the fight. Turki Al Sheikh. What happened to Eddie Hearn? It could happen, but it will all depend on realistic expectations on purses. I don't think Jack will be the issue. I think Devin would be the issue. Besides, Jack's in line for a title shot at the winner of Liam Paro and Richardson Hitchens. Doesn't really need Devin at this point. And it was a little bit of a childish tweet. Yeah, you can't get that fight without some business being done with Eddie Hearn. Jack Catterall's contracted to MATCHROOM. There's no way around it. So all this summer, boss, I've got my own promotional company and I'm going to cut side deals. Well, okay, I'm waiting to see. You know, all this, I'm pissed at Eddie Hearn offered him first dibs against Liam Paro for that IBF strap. Now, obviously, he didn't want to go through with the next day weigh-in rehydration clause. But it was on the table. What else is there for him? The public, unjustly, I would say, are not on his side. taking Ryan Garcia to court. His options have changed, whether he likes it or not.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Nayo Inoue deals with his IBF and WBO mandatory, actually, Sam Goodman, on Christmas Eve. His WBA super bantamweight mandatory challenger, MURODJON AKHMADALIEV, is going to have a much needed fight. He hasn't fought since 2023, when he lost his straps to Marlon Tapales. He came back with a win after that, but 2024, he sat on the sidelines, threatening legal action against Inoue and complaining that he can't get his shot. Now it's time to get in the ring and fight. It's a MATCHROOM card that will be held in Monte Carlo, no doubt a glamorous setting. The date, December the 14th, on DAZN. His opponent, Ricardo Espinoza, he's been knocked out by John Real Casemiro and beaten comfortably on the scorecards by Daniel Roman. He's won 30 and lost 4, 25 inside the distance. Looks like Espinoza can punch a bit, and this could be a better fight than a lot of people think. That's going to headline the card. We'll get into the rest of the card in a minute. A lot of people were asking who's headlining when they saw Akhmadaliev and Espinoza announced, like in disbelief that this is the headliner. And what it is now is Riyadh season has set the bar pretty high. And Curtis Woodhouse, former British light welterweight champion, he was addressing it on his YouTube channel yesterday. That there's a bit of a come down, isn't it? Like after you watch Dubois, Joshua, Beterbiev, Bivol, Fury, Usyk, all these big cards, all these big fights. And then you've got to deal with the realities of boxing, the cards that are not funded by Riyadh season. And I guess there's an expectation of getting pay-per-view level content from Riyadh season at subscription-based prices on TNT, DAZN and Sky. And it's not going to happen, is it? Let's bear in mind, Akhmadaliev is a former unified world champion. And this is for the interim WBA super bantamweight title. It's not a bad headliner at all. But we've been spoiled. And Curtis Woodhouse was pointing out, you know, after you're seeing Bacoli, Anderson, Terence Crawford, Joseph Parker, Zhang, Wilder, Nick Bull, Ray Ford, 5 versus 5, 2 undisputed weight classes decided in 1 calendar year. Everything in comparison, for now, could be anti-climatic, perhaps overkill. I don't think it has to be a crisis, but it is up to the UK to raise the bar again. It's up to the UK to lead by example. They've got to take the core principles from Riyadh season and implement them into the domestic scene over here. Put on the best content, promoter beef, network rivalry cannot be an issue. There'd be a time Regis Prograis versus Jack Catterall. I'll have some of that. Good matchup, decent card. If I look at the numbers on my live hangout and my post-fight videos on the fight, and the interest in these fights is not there, like they are for the Riyadh season cards. You know, Matchroom bought Ishmael Davis ringside after Junaid Boston fought, and they were hoping that both of them were going to have some animosity between them and be desperate to fight each other next, and that didn't happen, did it? They was all very cordial, and it can be a big fight later down the line. But they wanted to make it next because they know right now the interest isn't there to watch Junaid Boston whooping on some import from Argentina with a patchy record. A lot of people said Eddie Hearn was harsh on Campbell Hatton, but he told Ricky, his dad, Ricky Hatton, that his son's not improving. We don't promote fighters who can't get over area level on DAZN or Matchroom. And I think people are probably more unhappy with how Eddie Hearn said it as opposed to the reality of it. There is no place for Campbell Hatton. And the prospects have to realize if they're going to maintain the quality of content, that there's not going to be this big disparity from Riyadh season cards and non-Riyadh season cards. A lot of these prospects and contenders are going to have to get thrown in the deep end earlier. There's no way around it. We need a lot more 50-50 fights. A lot more. And I don't have to tell Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren this. They understand. 50-50 fight on Saturday in Birmingham, when Shabazz Mazood challenges Liam Davis for the IBO strap at 122. Liam Davis, he's 16-0 with 8 inside the distance. He's with Queensbury. And this is a Queensbury card on TNT. He takes on Shabazz Mazood, 13-0, 4 inside the distance. Matchroom. Not a huge fight, but it's a decent fight. And it's a 50-50, which we wouldn't get unless the two promoters were prepared to roll the dice with their unbeaten prospects. There's another fight at this weight limit between MATCHROOM and Queensbury on the undercard of Usyk versus Fury, and that's Dennis McCann versus Peter McGrail. Opinion is split on that one. McCann, Queensbury, McGrail, MATCHROOM. And we need to see a lot more of that, a whole lot more. Or the consequences could be the death of domestic level boxing in the UK, because there's a trickle-down effect. The kids on the small hall cards, the talented ones, are hoping to get picked up by Ben Shalom, by Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, to get on the big stage. But the big stage is no longer the big stage. Riyadh season is the big stage. And that is the streaming apps, the television networks, and the promoters' focus right now. It is what it is. Everything else has to fit in around that, or wait for the dust to settle to see what is what. You know, there's going to be a lot of people, the supporters of women's boxing, saying a lot of this ain't fair. A lot of people are going to be looking at the money that's being made by the promoters and the networks and saying there's a monopoly, it's corruption. But what about the likes of Ajit Caballo? He basically came from the mud and was being ignored. The want to have the best heavyweights fighting the best at Riyadh has allowed him to become a viable contender. Him and Martin Bakole. That's one of the next big fights we're looking for at Riyadh season. Bakole and Caballero. November the 5th, 200 grand minimum purse bid, and trust me, the winning bid is going to be a lot higher than that. Because both of their market values have raised through Riyadh season. There's a good chance he won't even go to the purse bid. If both of them want the fight, that is. Well, I've got my pay-per-view money cocked, ready to fire. That's all I can say. IBF final eliminator at heavyweight. Let's go. And that's good, because people want to see this fight. They want to see this fight. Cabello, 25-0. No losses, no draws. 17 inside the distance. Martin Bakole, 21 wins, 1 loss. 16 inside the distance. It's one of the hottest tickets in boxing right now. I reminded you guys, in 2019, Martin was released from MATCHROOM without losing a fight when he was on MATCHROOM. He was released. Surplus to requirements. They couldn't guarantee him the fights.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
November the 9th, Wells Fargo Center, Philly. Jaron Ennis, 32-0, IBF welterweight champion. And Jesse Rodriguez, 20-0, WBC World Super Flyweight champion, are basically in what could be a dress rehearsal. If Ennis can take care of Karen Koukazian, who he's previously fought, in a one-sided points win, if Jesse Bam Rodriguez can take care of Pedro Guevara, defending his WBC World Super Flyweight title, they could advance on to a February 2025 Riyadh season card. And we're talking about Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz and Bam Rodriguez versus Chocolatito Gonzalez. I mean, it was a great idea by Eddie Hearn, it has to be said, to put Jaron Ennis and Jesse Rodriguez on the same card in Philly. It's a great idea. Two of the best young fighters we got in the sport, sharing the limelight, bringing both fan bases together. Not that Boots couldn't sell out the Wells Fargo. If they both win, and if Oscar De La Hoya isn't doing his clapback crap and then tries to sabotage a fight between Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis, it's on. We know Chocolatito will turn up. We know that for sure. He's 37 though. He's only fought once since that controversial loss against Estrada in December 2022. But even at 37, he'll still be formidable opposition for Jesse Rodriguez. And if it is Gonzalez's swan song, I'd rather it be against Jesse Rodriguez than against some nobody. I'd rather he go out on a nice payday on the big stage. In 3 fights, we really couldn't separate Juan Estrada and Chocolatito. And Jesse decimated Estrada in June of this year. Had Estrada down in the 4th, Jesse himself went down in the 6th, and in the 7th, that body shot was nasty. Boots versus Ortiz, that will obviously be at 154 for Ortiz's interim WBC title perhaps, is the type of fight that American boxing needs. And if they can put that fight on Golden Boy and MATCHROOM in America and charge the buying public $20, that's just the main event. This is Riyadh season. What's going to be on the undercard? The mind boggles. There'll still be people across the pond complaining though. It is what it is.
And finally, Bob Arum's taking shots at you again, saying you're a joke in America. What's your reaction to that?
I mean, he's about to lose his ESPN contract. 93 years old, which is a legendary status, by the way. But he has absolutely no clue what is going on at all.
We'll have to see. 2025. If ESPN renew their contract with Top Rank. 7-year contract from 2018. It runs out next year, 2025. There's been a few rumours that ESPN are going to go the same way as HBO and Showtime. The math just doesn't add up. And I've got a feeling that's why Bob Arum tried to give Riyadh season the kiss of death. He said he thinks there was a lot of pushback from the higher-ups in Saudi Arabia over the cards outside of Riyadh season. He thinks. Not that he heard, not that he spoke to anyone who was higher up. You have to wonder why he did that. You have to wonder. Top Rank could be out of the game soon. And he'd rather sink the ship and everything that's on it rather than see it sail off. And he's no longer involved in the plans. Bob got an undisputed champion out of Riyadh season. But he's obviously not happy. He's not happy about the Jared Anderson loss. Because Turkey put that big bag in front of Jared. And he blames Turkey for Jared taking the L against Bakoli. He definitely does not like the power that the Saudis have. He doesn't like it. And in his mind, he's losing control. We see Turkey here talking to Inoue recently, who signed to Top Rank, and he's probably thinking, if this guy gets in Inoue's ear, he has no real control over the business of Inoue anymore. This week on Top Rank, it's Robson Conceição and Oshaki Foster, the rematch. I'm looking at the YouTubers across the pond and over here too, and wherever they are, and there's no content being made about this fight. Where previously, if we weren't coming off the back of Beterbiev and Bivol in America, this fight would probably have more attention. No one's talking about it. All this could affect potential viewing figures. ESPN do have an app, but with DAZN basically eating everything, any fight worth talking about in boxing, DAZN is yamming it. And at this point here, Bob Arum and ESPN know they can't compete. They could be following HBO and Showtime out the door. All speculation, mind you.
I'm looking at the front door.
Boxing.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.